Not Quite
Darkness
is a podcast that contains spoilers, opinions, and general. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, boys and ghouls, children of all ages, thank you so much for tuning in for another super exciting, classic, reviewing the greatest films ever made episode of Not Quite Darkness. My name is Keith Brooks, and with me, as always, Mr. Chad Dowdy. Chad, how you doing, sir?
Usually I'm doing pretty good. Not so much this afternoon, tonight, because of this movie we watched.
Why is it not giving you school spirit? Because it seems like you're ready for it.
Yeah, I do have some school spirit a little bit. This movie gave minimum effort, so I figured maybe I'll give minimum effort and just throw a jersey on. We'll see. We're covering all the movies in the not In Search of Darkness series.
Yeah,
from the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to get it out of the way. There's no reason this should be on the list. No reason it should be in the documentary. I don't know why.
1981 is kind of rough. Like, I don't like a lot of the movies from 81 so far. And we're only in the second year of the first of three documentaries. And this is what they led with. That's pretty. So we're talking about Full Moon High, released in 1981, directed by Larry Cohen, I believe, the same guy who directed It's Alive 1 through 3, and It Shows, and starring Adam and Alan Arkin, and Bob Saget is in there twice. And
I needed more Alan Arkin, quite frankly.
Yeah, Alan Arkin was fun. He was just hamming it up, like, definitely. And Ed McMahon. I enjoy Ed McMahon. But we're gonna be talking about Chad's favorite movie. Everybody knows Chad loves werewolf movies to begin with. Plus, you add creepy high school environment to it, and this is made for you. So, Full Moon High. Let's talk about it.
Well, it's funny, it's called Full Moon High, and you said high school because at some points in the movie, I'm like, are we never going to see the high school? Like, it's unbelievable. But like I said, we'll get into it. Over the opening credits, we get our first dick joke. Like, we're in it, as far as I go. It's a football game. Then there's a drop the soap joke in the shower.
Immediately. And like Bob Saget's there in that scene. He shows up later as a sportscaster, but I think he's redubbed in that high school scene when he's walking out of the shower.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so
I'm not going to go back and check it out. I'm not going to go back and see.
You're not going to watch your Blu-ray copy of this and check it out.
It's a drop the soap joke with like a very inappropriate coach. Very inappropriate.
Who I feel like if it was 1981, I would have instantly known who that guy was. Like, he feels like he's probably the biggest star of the movie. Like, but I don't know. Like, I have a vague concept of him, but I don't know who he is.
Yeah, same. Like, he looks very familiar to me, and I feel like I've seen him in 80s movies and things like that. But I didn't bother looking him up or anything like that, unfortunately. But we meet our main character, as you already mentioned. It's Adam Arkin. He plays Tony, and his dad is Ed McMahon. I mean, out of the blue.
Which I like. Ed McMahon is totally Stop the Steal January 6th rioter in this movie. And like, I kind of fucking loved, like, I don't think I hated this movie as much as you hated it. I still hated it, but Ed McMahon was a lot of fun in this just because he was so fucking right-wing nutso, and I really enjoyed that.
He was nutso, but to your point, he was fun, but when they have him for 2 days or something, you know what I mean? He's barely in the movie.
And they're like, but you're gonna be in a threesome with Romanian prostitutes, Ed. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll do it.
Ha ha.
So he works for the CIA, and they want him to go over for something.
Does he work for the CIA? Because he says he does, But there is nothing in this movie that suggests he does.
He's like a conspiracy theorist. We're like, he's like, oh no, I'd work for the CIA. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I need a
he's got
cover. Yeah.
exactly. He's got to go to Romania. And I'm going to be honest. I don't even remember why he was going to Romania because it does, other than the fact they go to Romania, like what he went over there for doesn't come into play
At all.
What's he going over there for?
He was supposed to be getting secrets, and he was using his young high school son as a cover. But then when he gets to Romania, he's just fucking prostitutes the entire time.
He's just hooking up with prostitutes, and he's like, "Hey, Tony, you came back way too early. Beat it, kid."
Yeah.
So then Tony goes, and he gets like his palm read, and it's super weird scene.
Okay, so the problem I have, this is the first of many problems I have with the movie, is because the lady that reads his palms, like this movie is meant to be a comedy. It's meant to be a comedy.
In the vein of like The Naked Gun or something like that, like
Yeah,
hardcore
like
spoof comedy.
Spoof comedy, like Airplane. And every now and then there's some pretty funny jokes. Like, I love you read palms? Well, only because we don't have many magazines. Like, that's a pretty good joke, right? But then she reads his palm that says that he is going to be cursed as a werewolf, right? But like, he hasn't been bit yet. So is he like just fated to always have been a werewolf? Or that's stupid.
This is the situation. Definitely 100%. The writers of this movie had this conversation, Keith. They did. They poured through this before they made this movie. They're like, is he fate? We've got to make this decision now. Like, that's definitely what happened.
Definitely. But there is like interesting things they bring to the mythos, like which we'll talk about momentarily, but it's stupid. I think my pizza's here. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to grab my pizza. I'll be right back. I don't even think there's sauce on my pizza that I waited 2.5 hours for, but that's all right. That's fine.
Yeah, did you give him what for?
Yeah, nah, I just gave him a tip. Okay. So Tony is in Romania, wasting time because his dad's
palm read.
Because his dad's getting his palm read in a different way.
Yep.
And he's at a restaurant not eating any food.
Which won't be the last time he's at a restaurant not eating any food.
Absolutely.
So, so Tony leaves and he gets lost, trying to get back to the hotel or motel or whatever it is. And he's being stalked by a werewolf. And stalked sounds too cool for what's happening.
Yeah.
A dude in a terrible, terrible wolf costume is just walking around.
But it's also like the geographical location switches so fucking fast. Like, he's in the middle of downtown Borvagovanish, Romania, or something like that.
Bustling metropolis.
And it takes a right, and now he's in fucking Appalachian Mountains, like in the middle of countryside. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I expected him to like roll up on the bar from American Werewolf in London.
Me too.
Yeah, it's just off by itself. Like that's where he is for context, basically at this point.
Yeah.
And then the wolf attacks him. You don't even really see anything. The wolf just.
But
I don't even know.
But I think you got to the wolf attack far too quickly because I expected you to explain the scene. That's why I ate the slice of pizza.
The violence.
Yeah. So they bring up this interesting thing that I think is kind of an interesting idea, that when you are a werewolf, you hear random violins coming in, which is kind of cool. That was a kind of a neat thing. But then he like talks to the wolf for like 15 minutes. And it's the most annoying fucking piece of the entire movie, where it's just like, can we not bring a fucking editor in? Because he says the same joke. It's like hanging out with Rob Bronco, because it says the same joke 17 times. Like don't eat me too much. Just take a notch, take a finger, take a bite off of this. That's all I need. Just take a finger, just take a bite off of this. No, well, don't eat me. Just take a finger, take a bite off of this. Then it just plays out in a wide, like he's running a fucking series, and they never cut it. God, it was so annoying. Anyway.
It was definitely like it was 16 different like scenes, and they just kept on. No, we're going to use them all. We're putting it all in there. Just riff on this one, okay? Riff on the next one. Riff on the next one. But we're going to put them all together. Like
Absolutely, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So now they're on the flight home. His dad and
you're
him.
still skipping. You're skipping so much.
Listen, I want to skip the entire movie, Keith.
He gets attacked by a werewolf. He has terrible ADR that says, "Oh, I guess I'm still alive now. I'm crawling to the city." And then he gets to the hotel. He realizes the prostitutes are gone. We go see Ed McMahon in a shower. Ed McMahon talks about sticking something up his ass. I don't know what it was. Now
it's the film. Yeah, that's what. It's like that's what he was there for.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, now we're on an airplane. Go ahead.
Now we're on the airplane, and there are hijackers on the airplane, and they blindfold everyone. And Tony turns into the werewolf, and only the hijackers can see him because everybody else is blindfolded, and he kills them, I guess. This really plays out like a Disney original, like as far as the violence.
No,
there's no violence.
This plays out like a bad student film because it doesn't show the violence. It doesn't have enough coverage. It's like they forgot they got to shoot the rest of the airplane. There's no the editor in this movie must have been like, you only had one shot of everything. I guess that's what we're using because the cuts are so fucking abrupt. The entire movie, it's just I
mean, again, it's a horror film. I get it. It's a comedy. There is no blood, no gore, nothing. And I mean, I maybe the werewolf looks so terrible they can't afford to show it. But I mean, you can show an aftermath where someone, is scratched up or something like that.
But
then it's like a G-rated movie, except for the dick jokes.
But then you would have to explain, because we don't get any sense of like the people on the airplane just realized, oh, I guess the terrorists are gone. None of that happens. He just takes out the fucking hijackers. We don't even see him take out the hijackers. We just see that he's going to attack. Next thing we know, they've landed. And like we don't see any of the thing. Yeah, like it's
nothing. It's ridiculous. They could have, I might have missed this. If this is what the hijackers actually could have been trying to get Ed McMahon. Like they weren't really hijackers. They knew that Ed McMahon was in the CIA trying to steal whatever he was stealing. Like, I don't think that was, they were just random hijackers, right?
Yeah. They were just going to Cuba.
It was ridiculous. So now immediately, again, we cut to, he's back at school. Tony can't concentrate on football, and he can't concentrate on his 40-year-old girlfriend either.
Who is the lady from Greece and is just trying to fuck him at all times. And then he has a best friend who looks like Shane Gillis, but like a little like just looks like there's something wrong with him. Like definitely
just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like too that he had a hairpiece on, and I was like, what in the world is going on?
And then
so it makes sense later, but when you're watching it again the first time, I'm like, man, this is a 40-year-old lady, and all they did was put her in pigtails. That's what they've done.
And because like I thought the entire movie was going to take place with him in high school. Boy, does that fucking change quickly.
Yeah.
Like
you were way wrong. Me too.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this movie? It's at every turn. I feel like it makes the wrong decision at virtually every turn. It's unbelievable. So now he's back in his hometown or whatever, and he keeps turning into a werewolf and attacking people at night. And we see like, I guess these are cute jokes or whatever. The newspaper clippings, the headlines is like something like werewolf annoys community.
Mm-hmm.
That's a funny enough line as far as that goes. And, playful nipping continues. So, apparently he's not killing anybody, he's just kind of attacking them or, whatever, like a playful dog, whatever. But then he ends up wolfing out and attacking his dad, or trying to attack his dad, Ed McMahon.
Well, he's trying to wolf out. And so he goes to his room, but Ed McMahon follows him. and then interrupts him during the middle of the wolfing process and has this, you can cuss, you can vote Democrat, but no growling in my house. And I know a growl when I hear one. And then chases him into a bomb shelter bunker thing. And then the dumbest moment in film history.
Well, before that, after when he had a great line. Man, to your point, he was funny. His line was, he's like, "Commies turned my son into a werewolf."
Yeah.
Like he's blaming it on the commies.
Yeah,
like, that's got to be who did it.
Yep, and
that's
yeah,
their master plan.
Yeah. And then like he goes into his bomb shelter and there's a picture of Joseph McCarthy and he's like petting it and like, we should have listened to you. Like, it's such a weird moment. But then
he pulls out his gun.
Yeah.
Or he had it with him. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But anyway, he shoots at his son or in the direction of his son. But it's like a bomb shelter. So the bullet starts ricocheting. And they speed up the speed of the camera, and Ed McMahon's trying to dodge the bullet or whatever. And we immediately cut to like a funeral. He's dead.
Which that's the only time I think the joke of the cut works, but the entire movie is cut like that. And it never has that.
Exactly. Because I was like, he's not really dead. Like they're just making you think he's dead.
No, he's dead.
But literally he's just dodging bullets, and then they cut to the funeral. Like, and again, and I 100% agree. It's the only time that type of cut works because it's a cut that's a joke.
Yeah.
The other cuts are just cutting to the next scene. Let's go. It's not. So that leads you to believe this was not even them trying to be funny.
No.
It was purely accidentally funny.
Yeah. And then there's like so many moments, like earlier when they're talking about going to Romania, they show like the typical like world map, like with an airplane flying over, and then somebody smashes it.
Oh my God.
And it's so like, it's stupid, but like at the time you feel like, oh, is this like a youthful, like Mad magazine just starting sort of thing? No, it's not. Like, it's just, it's trying to be airplane, but never gets it,
Yeah. And there was a funny line at the funeral, the guy doing the service, he says, "We're here to bid farewell to this dead guy."
Yeah. But then, like, even that funeral thing just took the same joke over and over again.
It kept going. It's the same thing. You're right.
I think the first time you do it, it's funny of them doing the gun salute too early, but then it just keeps happening. And I'm sure that guy is like a comedian that would have been popular at the time that I don't know who it is,
Right.
So
he was on Johnny Carson, like every few weeks or something.
Yeah.
So now that his dad's dead, Tony's just dropping out of high school and he's going to leave town.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is weird. It's called Full Moon High.
Yeah.
And he was barely in school. Went to Romania, turned into a wolf. He might have had like one class, played a little football, and now he's leaving high school.
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of this movie? Didn't make any sense. So he's leaving town, and then I don't know. To your point about not recognizing some people, did you recognize the bus driver was Lamont from Sanford and Son?
Oh, okay. Now that you say it, yeah, that makes sense.
So I did recognize him, but Lamont like hits on him, and he wolfs out. And just, I guess he hijacks the bus.
Yeah.
And bites everybody. Again, we don't see any of this.
We see the aftermath of him biting someone. Like after he's dropped everyone off. They don't even see the hijacking. It just cuts to Lamont going, "Man, he hijacked the bus and bit everybody."
Yeah.
And he
and like
bit me
there's
on
two
the
people
foot.
like rubbing themselves where they got bit or something.
And even that scene goes on for way too fucking long. Like it's
Oh, yeah. All that's all. And then it's like years pass. Like years.
20 fucking years. And you're just hearing him repeat the curse of that you will be forever young. Forever young. That doesn't actually show up in the thing. But until you fulfill your destiny.
She also says, aren't you like, you're going to be cursed under the earth or something like that? And just looks a lot like, New York or something. That's where he's at the whole time. Or, he there's no effort to show him anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's one street.
One street. The lapse of 20 years is him just walking on one street over and over again.
Which is him wandering the earth. for 20 freaking years. He eventually returns home. Like you said, it's been 20 years. And he goes back to the high school. So it's coming together, Keith. This movie's making a lot more sense now.
Well, there's nothing about this movie that's coming together, but yes, go ahead.
Back to the high school. There's a new teacher. We get some more sexual assault jokes with this teacher.
First of all, the high school now looks like the future, the Biff Tannen Donald Trump future for Back to the Future Part 2. Like that's what the high school now looks like, right? Which is I was born in the 80s, so I don't know if that's what life really was like in the 80s or if that was just fear-mongering, but it seems like that's a common statement about the 80s. You know what I mean? Like this just corrupted. But yeah, then the sexual assault jokes are just fucking ridiculous.
It was like, I can't remember, but it was like she was assaulted by elementary school
girls,
blind or in wheelchairs or something. Like I can't remember.
Yeah, it was just bad. And the
terrible
problematic coach is now the principal. There's dancing and knife fights in the hallway. She is very Selena Kyle before being pushed out a window.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And then she makes a transition later because she wants to fuck a high school student. And when she
does fuck a high school student.
She fucks multiple high school students.
Yes.
And when she makes that transition, I didn't even realize it was the same character. You know what I mean? Like when she shows up at the party later, like I was like, who the fuck is this? What? Like, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, she was thirsty as I'll get out at that high school dance. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And so Tony shows up to the school and basically he's re-enrolling and acting like he's his own son.
Kingo from Eternals sort of thing. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's like Tony Jr. or whatever it is. And so it's so perfect now that his friends from high school are 20 years older because now it actually makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
When they see them and his best friend is bald.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And his 40-year-old girlfriend is 40 years old. Yeah. So this movie knew what it was doing, Keith. I'm starting to come around. I might change my rating before the podcast is over. I'm not. And his best friend and his ex-girlfriend are together and they have had a child, JJ Bullock, who is, I feel like there's a lot of comedians and people in this movie like that are not like the most famous people in the world, but they were like people that you recognized from that time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot of those. Like was Alan Arkin already Alan Arkin by the time this movie came out? Do you know?
I would think so.
I would think so too, but it's weird he's in this, but I mean it's
like, he carries himself like he carries himself like he's Alan Arkin already in the movie. You know what I mean? Like when he shows up, it's like, oh, we got a big deal now. Like that's what the movie. If it was Godzilla X Kong, he would get 17 needle drops when he shows up. You know what I mean? He's the Dan Stevens of this movie.
So then Tony goes and he visits his dad's grave, and we get the Carrie scene where a hand comes up and grabs him for no reason. I mean,
no reason.
Excuse me. I mean, it's spoofing Carrie, I guess. I mean, it's not funny. They don't play it for laughs or anything like that. It's just needless, like most of the things that happen in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. What you mentioned earlier, now there's a school dance. And the new teacher is really looking for Tony. She is hot for him. And Tony shows up, but he's wolfed out.
And he interrupts.
The lights go out or something. I don't even know how it happens. And maybe he attacks a few people.
Yeah, he interrupts a drug deal first that happens in the school. And then it's also so like any character that is not white, they don't paint them in a lovely way.
Nope.
And so Yeah, so he interrupts the drug deal, and then I don't remember how the power goes out either.
Well, to your point about the drug deal, I thought at that point, I was like, oh, is this movie going to be like he's going to be the wolf cleaning up the school? Because he's back and the school's run down, and there's fights and drugs and all that stuff. No, that's
No, no.
not what's going on at all. Not at all. Uh, so then like the cops show up because there's a wolf attack at this dance, and they grab JJ Bullock, who's dressed in a gorilla outfit, and his best friend, who's the cop, is also JJ Bullock's dad. I I did laugh at this one. They pull the mask off JJ Bullock, and his dad's like, "Why did you do this? Why did you dress up like a gorilla? This is not the werewolf." And JJ Bullock's answer, he says, I wrote it down. He says, "I don't know, Dad. It's an attention getting device. I was hoping maybe it'd lead to sex later."
and then the dad is like, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?"
I just say he was so real. Like, "I don't know, Dad. I was trying to get attention." Like, of course, if you dress up like a gorilla, you're trying to get attention. Like, of course you are.
Yeah, of
And
course.
he just admits it. Like, I love it. That was my favorite part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from there.
It was all downhill before that. It was like that was just a moment where there wasn't gravel that you were sliding down.
So the next day, we're back at school, and he's failing every subject, even though we haven't seen him go to class. We've seen nothing.
That's why he's failing every subject. He hasn't gone to class.
We've seen nothing. And then his 40-year-old ex shows up, and basically she's got it figured out. She knows what's up. She knows it's him because maybe he's got a scar or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, something that's not defined before. But speaking of not defined before, it's also really he's gone back to school because he believes that winning the big football championship is actually his destiny. And this is just a reveal that just happens out of fucking nowhere. And right before his ex shows up, he talks to a vegetarian and decides that she's going to be the one he shares all of his secrets to. And then the ex shows up, and then go from there.
So she basically says, "I know everything, and I'm going to tell everybody everything, unless you like go out with me." Like she's still hot for him, even though she's married, she's got a kid. She's still hot for. She wants to go out with him. Like she's basically blackmailing him to go out. But I don't know if this new girl is like his girlfriend. Maybe like they're kind of into each other. She's into him. I don't know, but so he gets his quote new girlfriend to come over to his house and basically tie him up and videotape him when he transforms into a werewolf.
But she thinks it's a kinky FetLife sort of experiment. So she starts whipping him, and then he turns into a wolf. And then she like gets his, I don't know how she escapes being eaten, but at a point she like his feet hurt and she has to rub them or something.
Oh my
and
God,
she pets
Keith,
him.
it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, she definitely gets into it a little too much, and then he actually escapes the restraints and goes after her. But she grabs, I feel like out of the kitchen, she grabs a silver knife. So, and silver hurts him, like, just like a silver bullet would hurt a werewolf. And then he like hides in the shower, and we kind of get like a psycho. Homage. Jesus Christ, this movie, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then they do the whole thing where, I guess he's like scared or hurt and she feels sorry for him, and they just make up, and she's kind of, I don't know if into it's the right word, but she still kind of likes him. I don't know if she's like really likes the fact that he's a werewolf, but she's fine with it. It seems like.
But it's also, I think this and the next scene sort of represent the problematic relationship age thing, because he technically is 40, but in the body of an 18-year-old. And so now this 40-year-old in an 18-year-old body is fucking around with this 18-year-old girl, but also fucking around with this 40-year-old woman that like takes him on a public date okay, Drake, calm down. What are you doing here? Like,
Yeah, his 40-year-old girlfriend takes him to like, a restaurant. I mean, out in the open.
yeah,
She's basically throwing herself at him. And I mean, I feel like he's wearing his like high school jacket or something. Even, it's like,
absolutely,
yeah,
yeah,
dude, I'm in high school. Can't you tell? Like I'm dressed like a high schooler. Like it's pretty obvious.
yeah.
And he gives everyone fleas in the restaurant. It's
And he
so
touches
dumb.
Silver, and so he freaks out again.
He freaks out. So if we didn't know before that Silver was a big deal,
We
you
got
got to
two
know it now.
scenes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we're going to go to the next scene, which is his best friend buying silver bullets from Mr. Miyagi.
yeah. Pat Morita shows up.
The funniest thing about that is Mr. Miyagi, that's what I know him as, obviously, as everyone would. And he shows up and he's like, the best friend's like, you have any silver bullets? He's like, yeah, man, I can get you some silver bullets. You want some? I got some right here. He sounds nothing like Mr. Miyagi. I did a double take. I was like, what?
but that's also like,
Pat Morita doesn't talk that way normally.
yeah, but like that's the thing is I know because I've never actually seen Karate Kid. I
Oh
don't
my
think
Lord,
Karate
Keith.
Kid has come out yet in this world. So he's
Yes, I don't
mainly
think it has.
from the Richard Pryor show because that's where I knew Pat Morita from.
Gotcha.
So like, yeah, this is interesting.
But it's, again, it's his only scene,
Yeah.
but we're just so you know, there's 3 straight scenes
Of Silver.
of Silver. Like this is going to be huge later and it's
And-
going to come into play. Keep that in mind, guys.
Well, is it? And then you would think because also we have like 2 scenes almost back to back about fleas because right after this, he's driving the new girl home and she's like, I really want to fuck. And he's like, what? Like, we can't right now. And she's like, let's go fuck in the bushes. And then they go to fuck in the bushes and he has fleas. And that's, I don't know what the point of that is because the fleas never come back up again.
No, there's nothing. They're just like one-off things that like
Yeah.
it's like they're setting up things for the future and they never pay them off. It's
At all.
unbelievable. And so I don't remember why this happens, but now, Tony goes to the teacher's house, the teacher that's hot for him.
Oh, he's gonna
Like-
bite her, right?
Yeah, but why?
I
Is
don't
it just
know.
coincidence? Like,
But we go to the teacher's house. This teacher who they've told us is a victim of multiple sexual assaults, and she's fucking a high school student.
she's in
who's
bed
like,
with a high school student.
and the high school student's like, I swear I won't make a bad grade again. And then she's like, no, you have to stay with me. And it's like, what? Do you know what is this character? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and so
Oh, but right before that, we set up yeah, that's the problem. Right before that, when he's driving the teenage girl and he's gonna fuck the teenage girl, he's talking about I've never killed anyone. And this
Right.
is the first time we've ever mentioned that. And we are an hour and 35 minutes into this film. And I've been thinking he's been killing people the entire time. Because if you're a werewolf and you bite somebody and you don't kill them, they turn into a werewolf. That's
what happened to him.
yeah. So are you just turning fucking werewolves left and right, bro? Because I've seen you attack multiple women and
A busload of people, Keith.
A busload of people.
busload.
and like, are they all just werewolves in the city? Is this now an epidemic that you
I never
like,
thought of that.
is this a
Never thought of that.
metaphor for herpes? Like, what is this? But now you tell us you've never killed anyone. Then you go to teacher's house, who's fucking one of her students. Go ahead, continue.
You just blow my mind because I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely like I thought maybe he killed some people like the hijackers or whatever, and the playful like at the beginning when he first turned into werewolf, it was like playful nipping and werewolf noise community. Thought maybe he's not attacking them people, not killing those people, but he's biting them, like to your point. And he got bit, and that's what turned him into a werewolf.
And then he bites someone else. He bites 2 other people that we know turn into werewolves. So is he's just leaving havoc in his wake.
Man, the commies, they did it right. They're just
Yeah.
killing like, boy, they were right. They
Yeah.
were totally right. And then he also, again, even though he's walking on that one street, for 20 years, he's wandered the earth. He's never killed anybody in 20 years, being like a werewolf. It almost seems like it's not that big of a deal.
But then he says, so then he goes to teacher's house, and the next thing we see after that is he goes to the 18-year-old girl and he's like, I did it. I went too far. I killed her. But we also know he did not. He did not kill her.
I don't remember if he said I did not
No,
kill her. Did he say, hey, no, what I mean, did he say he killed her? Or
He
did he
said
say I went too far this time?
I think he said he went all the way.
Well, that's okay, Keith. Let me explain something to you. Teenagers back in the day, no, they don't do it now. But sometimes when they say they went all the way, it means they had sex.
Well, that's
So,
probably a thing. But he says he went all the way, and I think she's like in the middle of she's in the middle of something. I don't know what she's in the middle of. But she asks him, "Do you mean you killed her?" And then he says, I knew she liked me, but she wouldn't run away from me, and so I kept just going. So the implication is that he killed her.
Absolutely.
But then later on in the movie, we see her again, so we know she's not fucking dead. Like,
and she's been turned.
Yeah, unless the in this world, because in the beginning of the movie when he's bitten, he's like crawling in the dark, and we hear the ADR of like, "Oh, I'm dead. Oh, this is how I go." Did he actually die? And you come back as a werewolf, so it's like vampire rules mixed in it.
Right. Okay. Like, that's fine if maybe they said that and
But they
explained
don't.
it. So maybe he did kill her. Like, maybe you're right. He did kill her. And she, if you kill, you come back as a werewolf. We're definitely like paying way too much attention to the rules of this fucking movie because it's ridiculous.
But like no werewolf, and I'm fine with you inventing new things like the violin thing, but you've never stated that that's how werewolfism, lycanthropy works, and no other movie has ever. So anyway, so he realizes or he thinks he's killed this bitch, whether he has or not. Continue, Chad.
So he's done. Like, if he went too far and he killed, like, some's got to be done.
Yeah.
So his plan basically is to show everyone at school the video of his current young girlfriend, beating him with a belt or a whip or whatever it was, and then getting on top of him and making out.
Yeah.
Like, that's his plan. And the principal problematic coach, he had a pretty funny line. I can't remember what it was, but it was something like,
you guys leave and leave this with me so I can watch it later.
He's like, we need to turn this off so I could just watch it later by myself or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it was something so ridiculous. But so, he shows the video and the cops show up and actually arrest him. His best friend arrests him. He's going to jail. Then an hour and 15 minutes into this hour and a half movie, we're introduced to a brand new character.
Yeah.
Alan Arkin's like Dr. Brand, which, like I said, we needed more Alan Arkin. I wish he was in this whole movie. It seemed like he was having a good time.
Yeah, he was just like everything that Adam Arkin did in that one scene I hate, where he just riffed for 16 minutes about "Don't bite me."
Yeah.
Alan Arkin does it, and I'm like, this is elevated art. Like, I love this.
Let him go. Let him cook. I'll be like, yeah. So he goes to see Tony in jail, and I think he just wants to like use him to like write a book or get money off of him. I can't remember, but he's like a shyster doctor. He's clearly not like the real deal doctor. And like, they established that his methods is like, somebody's going to jump off the building. He's like, yeah, you pussy, jump off the building. Nobody loves you anyway. Like, it's like negative reinforcement to the max. That's his style or whatever. So during that, Tony escapes, but not before the cop tries to shoot Tony, but shoots our cameraman or the camera. So again, it's a spoof, the naked gun, airplane type stuff. But this is the first really like
break the fourth wall.
Kind of stuff. And it's an hour and 20 minutes into the movie, that we're just now doing this. It's kind of wild. What you said earlier about Tony, he's got to win the big game or score a touchdown or whatever. So and for some reason they all know that's where he's going. So the cops are all there. Everyone's there. His current lovers, his ex-lovers, his best friends, whatever, they're all there for the game. And he shows up in the jersey, ready to go. He's wolfed out. very Teen Wolf style.
Don't
And
don't. Teen Wolf is so far above this movie.
I can't remember if Teen Wolf is in the not quite. I keep saying not quite darkness in Search of Darkness. I can't
If
remember if it's in there or not.
this is Teen
It
Wolf is
has
the
to be.
fucking Godfather
It has to
comparatively.
be.
Yeah, it
If it's
has
not,
to be. We're
something's
watching
wrong.
it anyway.
Yeah,
like
exactly. We should have watched that instead of this, But
amen.
so he picks up the ball and scores. So he fulfilled the destiny, even though obviously, like, I think he's getting shot at when this is happening. He's not even a part of the play.
Yeah,
He just runs on the field and picks up the ball. And so the cops are shooting at him, but they're not hurting him because they're not silver bullets. Only his best friend has the silver bullets that he bought from Mr. Miyagi.
Meanwhile,
And
we see Alan Arkin, and Alan Arkin sees the violinist start to play. So sort of implying that he also has some werewolf now in him.
this was a great joke too. Honestly, it was a great joke when his best friend has like a little soliloquy or whatever talking about, I can't even remember. It's like, yeah, he hunts at night. He lives alone. Like it's
Coming
so
back
like
to the
poetic.
place he feels at home.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so poetic. And like the cop that's with him is like, man, that's really poetic. That's really good. And he's like, yeah, I worked on it all night. And then like 2 minutes later, the cop walks up to Alan Arkin and says the exact same. He like stole the whole poetic thing.
yeah.
And he was so dead serious about it. I did think that was pretty funny.
Yeah, me too.
That's pretty good. So the best friend doesn't want to shoot him, even though he's got the silver bullets. But Alan Arkin gets the gun and shoots him and, quote, kills Tony. He's dead.
Yeah.
And immediately his best friend starts hitting on
The
his
18-year-old
current
girl.
girlfriend. Yeah. Immediately.
But also the 18-year-old girl like seems into it, and she says something like, he walks over to her and he's like, you said I smell good, maybe, if you're interested. And she's like, yeah, after an appropriate period of mourning, clearly. He's like, yeah, of course.
And then, everybody leaves, I guess. I don't know what's happening. It's terribly edited, but Tony just raises up and he's like, he's talking to us now. He's breaking the fourth wall. He's talking to the camera and he's like, did you really think that'd be enough to kill me? Well, yeah, because you've established that silver is really, yeah, and you've been shot by silver bullets multiple times.
I just something
So,
like,
yeah, we did think.
With inflation, it takes 9 silver bullets to kill a werewolf. Where's that teacher that fucks high school students? I want to go find her again.
Yeah.
And then darts off, and she jumps out of a bush as a werewolf.
And she's a werewolf. And then, like, I guess we see pictures like they have a wolf family. It's like a whole thing.
With one human kid that looks like Lon Chaney Jr.
It's terrible. I bet it was. I bet that was their intention, of course, that it looked like Lon Chaney Jr. And then, so that's the end of this shitty fucking movie.
This shitty fucking Waka Waka movie that feels like Rob Pralgo wrote it, except for the good parts of it. Like, it's just... No, I gave it 1.5 stars because there were some jokes that I liked. I think there's some elements in this movie that could have been good, but it's like, somebody had the idea for Airplane and just thought, well, that's good enough. And they didn't go over it again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, what did you rate it?
I gave it 1 out of 5. It's terrible. Like, listen, it's hard to get a half a star out of me because it has to be almost offensive on top of being terrible, to me. So it's 1 out of 5, which is an extremely low score. I gave The Burning 3 stars, Keith. So
I like this better than The Burning, but still, that's fucking...
You like this better than The Burning?
Yes, I like this better than The Burning.
Oh,
The Burning was the dumbest fucking movie I've ever seen. That's why I don't like 1981. What a shitty year.
You said The Burning is the dumbest fucking... This is the dumbest fucking movie. Come on.
We've watched a lot of dumb fucking movies for this show. Okay.
This is the dumbest.
So you want to do Funko Pop or remake first? Which one you want to do?
Well, first of all, for a lot of these movies, I would get the Funko Pop if they had it. I'm not buying anything if there is a Funko Pop of this movie.
There was nothing iconic in this movie. Like, I still
No.
haven't come up with one. I
I mean,
guess like
go ahead.
him maybe in a fucking the jacket as a wolf, but that just looks like Teen Wolf, so I don't need that, you
Yeah.
know?
I thought maybe like him as a wolf with his football jersey on, holding the football, which is again I mean, again, that's not great. It's stupid. It is utterly stupid. And I'm shocked. I'm really shocked, going back to Teen Wolf, that after this movie, Teen Wolf was still greenlit. Like, this should
Yeah.
ruin werewolf comedy high school movies forever.
Well,
Forever.
I think the pitch of Teen Wolf is like, you see that movie? What if we did that, but it was good? Like, that's the pitch.
I'd probably say, no, I don't believe you.
But it's Michael J. Fox. It is so fucking good. I think the
good.
Funko Pop I would do for this one is Ed McMahon in the bed with two prostitutes in Romania. That's what I would do.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be solid.
I mean, it's just, yeah, it's flat out terrible.
Flat out terrible. But it being a terrible movie, that doesn't stop you from having to remake it. So you remake this movie. What are you doing?
So, we're going to go the parody route again. And I'm going to go with not very recent, but the recent past with the Wayans brothers. They made Scary Movie.
Yeah.
This is a horror movie. It's not, but whatever. It's in the horror genre, I guess. So the Wayans brothers are making this movie. It's going to be like Scary Movie. Tony would be Damon Wayans Jr.
Ooh.
Because he could play young and old. But Dr. Brand, Sean Wayans,
Great.
because that's his real life uncle. Again, relation there. His best friend will be Marlon Wayans. Marlon would play a high schooler, but then also look 40 years old later as well. So all that's fine. And then his older ex would be Kate Beckinsale with pigtails.
Love that.
Don't do anything different. Put her in pigtails, and then 40 years later.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love that for very different reasons.
Spoof it up. Just make it, have some Twilight references. Have, not Michael J. Fox, the movie, but like the MTV Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Have some of those people in there, whatever. Just totally play it up, spoof it up. That's what I would do. Just let them do what they do.
Absolutely. I would do I like that a lot. So for me, I would keep the spoof nature of it. I would make it a Netflix made for Netflix film. I would, for my main lead of Tony, I would have Aidan Gallagher, who is from the Umbrella Academy, plays number 5. So he would be my main guy for that. For his dad, I would have John Hamm. For all of his high school friends, I would just get actual teenagers, so that way when we age them up, it's teenagers playing elderly people as opposed to elderly people trying to play high schoolers. So there's like a level of kitsch there. And then for other characters, I would throw in comedians of our relative time, right? So like the principal, I would probably do either Andrew Schultz or Shane Gillis, something like that. I could see the priest at the funeral being somebody like Kevin Hart, somebody like that doing that. And then for Dr. Brand, I would do Paul Rudd, just to see him be able to give that angry, like that seems like such a departure, but still within his wheelhouse. I think that would be a lot of fun. And just I would play into the spoof thing, but also try to flesh out some of the ideas that could have gone somewhere if you had just done a second draft. Like, explain the mythos. Like, one of the things I like about Teen Wolf, or I like about Ghostbusters, is that mythos feels grounded in something. And so that horror element is there, and then the comedy comes on top of that. And I think if you did something here with that, you could have something compelling. Just this movie didn't do any of that. It was a shitty movie. So just such a fucking shitty movie.
If you really want to go a little more high concept, the dad could be like Andy Richter.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, and that way you get a sidekick. Yeah, that'd be cool. And Andy Richter would be great in that part too.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
So, but I think the key would need to be funny, maybe.
Yeah. Absolutely. It'd just be a good movie. That would be fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like it.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of good movies, you think you're finally going to be happy with the next movie?
Okay,
from
thank God.
1981.
What are we watching next?
We're watching Sam Raimi's Evil Dead.
Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Okay, cool. I'm excited. Finally something good that's groovy to me. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
there you go.
I'm watching the first Evil Dead, right? Not Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, but the first one.
The best one, correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm stoked, man. That's gonna be finally something good and fun clip art. Man, I dread making the fucking clip art for this piece of shit. I'm just gonna
Just do Michael J. Fox from Teen Wolf.
Yeah. Oh God. What a shitty movie.
Yeah,
All right.
really
Well,
is.
but
I can't
next
stress enough.
yeah, next time we'll come back and have some Necronomicon, have some Ash, have some Bruce Campbell. It's gonna be awesome. Some tree sexual assault. It'll be fantastic. A lot of fun stuff to be had.
Yeah, we're getting close to being 81, so we'll see what 82 holds when we get there. But we're
Jesus.
struggling along.
Yeah, trugging definitely. All right, well, groovy. Well, in the meantime, Chad, where can the people find you?
Instagram, Twitter X, NQC Podcast.
And awesome. And if you're looking for me, you could find me in the not quite darkness.
Peace.
Michael Kane.